You've probably seen this kind of person before. Something goes wrong, a leaking pipe, a dead battery, a corrupted file, maybe even an emotional breakdown. And instead of panicking, they pause. They don't spiral. They don't grab their phone in a rush. They just stand there for a second and think. Then they start fixing it, and you're left wondering, why was your first instinct to freeze or fall apart? What do they have that you don't? It's not just experience, there's something deeper going on. To understand it, we need to go back to an idea from Albert Bandura. He introduced a concept called self-efficacy. Stripped of all the academic language, it's simple. It's your belief that you can handle what's in front of you, not general confidence, not blind optimism, something much more specific. It's the quiet thought. I've dealt with things before, this is manageable too. And that belief changes everything. It affects how long you stick with a problem, how much effort you give when things get difficult, whether you give up or keep going. So, where does this come from? It usually starts early. Think about a moment when a child tries to fix something, and it actually works, something small. They adjust a wire and the light turns on. They restart a device and it responds. They press on a cut and the bleeding slows. It's not about the object, it's about what shifts internally. In that moment, the world stops feeling random. It becomes something they can interact with, something they can influence. That changes how they see problems. From then on, when something breaks, their system doesn't shut down. It leans in, almost with curiosity. Okay, what is this? Bandura called these moments mastery experiences, and they're the strongest builder of self-efficacy. Not praise, not watching others. Doing it yourself. That's what sticks. There's a related idea from Julian Rotter called locus of control. It describes whether you believe outcomes are shaped by your actions or by luck, fate, or external forces. People with a more internal sense of control don't just solve problems better, they handle stress differently, they persist longer, they're less likely to collapse under pressure. Across cultures and ages, one pattern keeps showing up. Believing your effort matters is deeply protective, and most of the time, people aren't born this way. They're shaped by moments. Sometimes it's a parent who says, I won't give you the answer, but I'll help you figure it out. Sometimes it's the opposite, no help at all. So they learn to rely on themselves. Different paths, same outcome. Now here's the surprising part. From the outside, these people look confident, but inside, they're not certain things will work. They feel the same uncertainty you do. The difference is, uncertainty doesn't feel like a final judgment. It feels like a starting point. There's a term for this: tolerance of ambiguity, the ability to sit in the unknown without falling apart. Some people need immediate reassurance. They need to know everything will be okay, right now. And when they don't get that, anxiety takes over. They freeze, or step back and let someone else take over. But the fixers, at some point, they learn to stay in that uncomfortable middle, not knowing, yet still moving. But we should be honest about something. Not all fixers are the same. Some people become hyper-capable because they had to. Fixing things wasn't a choice. It was how they stayed safe, how they earned approval, how they avoided risk. So they made a decision, often unconsciously: I will never be helpless again. And what looks like strength is sometimes a coping mechanism. You can usually tell. Ask them to step back. Let someone else handle it. They can't relax, they hover, they interfere. They need the situation to be resolved, because an unresolved problem feels internal, not external. But there's another kind of person, and this is the one that matters most here. They fix things because they're curious. They're drawn to the gap between broken and working. That space fascinates them. They'll take something apart just to understand it, ask questions no one else is asking, explain what went wrong with genuine excitement, not for approval, not for control, just because the process itself is interesting. These people fall in love with figuring things out. Not the result, the process. Being around people like that changes you because they show you something simple. Not knowing isn't permanent, broken isn't final. Problems are movable. You can interact with them. Maybe you're listening to this and realizing you are that person and you've never really questioned why. Or maybe you're realizing the opposite, that this mindset feels unfamiliar, even distant. If that's you, hear this clearly. Outsourcing your problems isn't a flaw, it's a pattern shaped by experience, a history that taught you things happen to me, I don't shape them. But that can change because self efficacy isn't fixed, it builds through small moments, small wins, not dramatic transformations, just simple actions. You try something and it works, even a little. You handle one thing on your own. That's where it starts. But understanding this isn't enough because insight alone can become another loop. You recognize the pattern, you think about it, you analyze it, and nothing actually changes. That gap between knowing and doing, that's where most people get stuck. If this resonated with you, take a moment. Like the video if it helped you see something differently. Subscribe for more psychology based insights like this. And in the comments, tell me honestly, when something breaks, what's your first instinct?